This video is about the eclipse. And basically, I just wanted to share some of the amazing footage that we managed to get before any more time slipped away, because I know that I'm incredibly slow sometimes at getting stuff up. But we did have this rare opportunity to see the eclipse, and I know a lot of other people did, but plenty of other people did not have the chance. And so hopefully people are still interested in seeing it, even though it's now a little bit after the time. But it was a truly amazing sight and a once-in-a-lifetime thing for me personally. I've never seen a total eclipse, not that type, you know. I've seen the partial totals, or we weren't in the path of totality 7 years ago, but we saw the kind of sort of thing. And Mel had never seen a total eclipse either, and then it went cloudy. Well, I think it's going in and out. There's nothing we could do about that. This was our chance to see the whole thing, and it was a great opportunity because our town just happened to be square in the path of totality. I mean, I probably wouldn't have traveled to see it somewhere else, but it might have been worth it if I had. I mean, I bet other people who have traveled thought that. But it was crazy. I mean, we used several different cameras, and the one that has the longest lens, I'm talking like 500 millimeter, got some really close-up striking still images. That one didn't do video. But I've got this old cheap lens that's a mirror lens that can really get pretty close up on the sun and the moon, and it's good for that kind of photography, even though it's not high-end. But some of these pictures were really interesting, and then taking a raw still of it, you could bring out even more of the kind of light flares and different parts of the colors and stuff. And it's really amazing, so I did want to share that. But also I was kind of reflecting at the time and reflecting now on just what a strange coincidence it is that we could see this kind of eclipse at all, anywhere on Earth, you know. So easy to lose position. Yeah, there we go again. Because of these celestial bodies themselves. I mean, the moon is relatively small compared to Earth, and especially compared to the sun, but it's also relatively close. And the sun is so gigantic, it's so enormously bigger than anything, and way, way, way bigger than the Earth, and so far away. No, but it's not easy to film, that's true. But I mean, whether you think of it as some kind of grand design or some kind of grand coincidence, it's pretty strange that it just so happens to work out that the perspective of our human eyes here on Earth is such that the sun, that's so enormous, it's so far away, can be eclipsed by the moon in a way that they look almost equal, and the moon is right over it. I mean, am I wrong in thinking what are the odds of that? I'm not really great in astrophysics or anything. I mean, outside of Earth, I'm just really not an expert anymore at anything. But, you know, it's still kind of crazy. It's strange to think about. So if there's a specific reason, let me know. But I was reflecting on that a little bit, that seeing this total eclipse itself is such a coincidence. And, you know, that's not far from the point of all these different ancient cultures that I've read little bits here and there about. It seems like basically all over the world. I mean, obviously all over the world, they would have reason to take notice of the eclipse. But you know, all these different superstitions are rooted in ancient time, where they would believe that a dragon was swallowing the sun, or, you know, there was some kind of ill omen, or it meant something supernatural. I mean, it's not hard to imagine why. It was really crazy when it got dark in the middle of the day. Oh, wow. Even though I knew scientifically and as a member of society what the basic reason was.
Does this mean we're officially in it?
Guys, look over there.
You know, it stirs something in you. I mean, we were in our backyard, but there was all these people that came to town, not as many as they hyped up, who were there to watch the eclipse, and we could hear some of our neighbors, you know, shouting and woo-hooing, and, you know, we shouted too. Woo! Because it was exciting, you know.
Oh my God, look.
And it was all this build-up for years of talking about it.
It's coming back. Something's coming back.
Look.
During the totality, you don't need your glasses to see it. Wow.
Woo! I just like to look at that. Ah, that's amazing.
But the ancients, had all kinds of different beliefs and kind of strange practices to bring back the sun or to sort of pay some kind of respect. But basically, a common theme is that a lot of cultures would weep for the loss of the sun, would cry out because the loss of the sun was an important loss to everyone. And if it didn't come back, that was life. But no, actually for the moon too, when the moon is in eclipse, same kind of practices. But either way, when you get into it, the sun and the moon, it's not hard to see why the ancients and old cultures and in symbolism and alchemy and mysticism, that they regard the sun and moon as a matching pair of opposites, as a male and female, and as a sort of divine royal pair, the king and queen, specifically in alchemy. And they've got those drawings and stuff from the classic days of alchemy, and it's in a lot of the young books over and over. Some of them are dedicated especially to that. And it's the bath. When the sun and the moon could join together in their special formation, that's the alchemical bath that they're taking together. It's the ultimate conjunction in symbolism and so many different aspects of myth and culture. It's the ultimate conjunction of the sun and moon and of male and female, of light and dark, of day and night, and other paired opposites. And so it's really strange to see that firsthand, because what could be more perfect than two solar bodies, one that rules the day and one that rules the night, coming together exactly and looking from a human perspective as though they are the same size in the sky. And then to see that sun disappear exactly behind the moon, it was really interesting to see. So I don't know what y'all think about that, but it was really strange. I mean, and all these cameras picked up different aspects of it too. And I know stuff gets blown out. The iPhone in particular really sees things differently than my Canon cameras do. It's probably blown out by the sun, and we also had that cheap filter on there, but it wasn't on there the whole time. But it was weird. I mean, the sun was partly behind clouds, and then it would come out at times because it was a very cloudy day. And it looked like the sun was swimming. It looked like the sun was a liquid body in the sky on that phone. As opposed to with my naked eye or, wearing the special glasses and on the other cameras. I know that's not real. I know that's the interpretation of the iPhone, maybe even a type of machine poetry in terms of basically it repaints with the camera according to a certain algorithm. That's how the iPhone camera works, I think. It kind of repaints reality, because if you zoom way in, there's kind of like little stitches, little fabrics. So I don't think it's showing a true view, but it's a very interesting view. I don't know if you're seeing the same thing in this footage. Some of it wasn't like that, but I did see it at one point when it literally looked like translucent water. And they can't be, but at the same time, we all have this perception thing going on. Our own eyes deceive us. Definitely all these different cameras deceive us, and in slightly different ways. It's a strange reminder that we're not really seeing true reality with that. So the video footage in particular that's on the tripod was our Canon C100 with a 75 300 millimeter zoom. I had the official solar filter on that, so it's good with the camera and you could see it. I thought it actually made a pretty dark image, but it did make it possible to pick up all those solar flares and all that stuff shooting off from the sun that they say is hotter than the sun itself when it shoots off of there, and that sort of diamond ring effect that picks up just before, just after that moment of totality.
Right.
And from where we were, the clouds moved over
pretty cooperative.
just after it reached totality, and then it popped back and forth a couple times. And then once that whole period of totality was over, it completely covered in clouds, and the sun wasn't shining through very little, if any, over the next hour as it moved out of partial eclipse back into other formation. I don't know, if you saw the eclipse, you probably sort of tracked it, and if you didn't, maybe you didn't pay attention to it. We've been hearing about it continuously in this town for months and for years, and that was the other weird thing. I mean, they preemptively declared some kind of state emergency, and it was really hyped up around town, getting ready to be overwhelmed by people coming in and getting extra supplies and doing extra shopping and making sure you had gas. And that probably would be a good idea if the town was overwhelmed, but I guess either because of the forecast or for other reasons, it ended up just being totally overhyped. I mean, the town was not overrun. There were more people here than normal. You could kind of notice even just by the traffic sounds, and a few people here and there in the parking lots, but not in the way they were predicting or in the way they instilled into people. So yeah, it didn't really play out, but for us it was great. We were already here and we saw something I don't know if we'll ever get to see again. And I hope that all of you have had a chance, if not to see the eclipse, then to see something really special like that. Because, I mean, there's a lot of reasons it could be meaningful, but I think it's important to connect with natural phenomena to really witness something that reminds you, for lack of better words, how magical the world is. Or it's really strange. I mean, out in the desert and stuff, we've really had some otherworldly feelings just by being in places around mountains and stuff. But that's another story for another time. These cameras captured the sun conjoined with the moon, and it was absolutely otherworldly magical in a sense. And I'm not saying I connected with it as deeply as some people might have, but you could tell it was something kind of special to see. So I hope you enjoy seeing the footage of it. If not, I guess it's over pretty quick. But Mel was joking afterwards that the sun looked happy all day and it was beaming through the clouds once the clouds passed, and a couple hours after it was over, and the sun was happy because it got laid. I don't know if you appreciate that joke, but in alchemical terms, in Carl Jung's books and in some of the old folklore, the sun and the moon eclipsing is the ultimate conjunction. Thanks, guys. So I'm rolling what is basically black here because it's behind clouds, but also insects and birds have really started making noise again, and they were quiet for a while.